like to call upon Rabbi Greenbaum to give us a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Good evening and welcome. It is related that during one of the Rebbe's visits to Camp Gan Yisrael in Swan Lake, New York, back in 1956 or 1957, the Rebbe was given a tour of the camp facilities. The camp administration, the head counselors walked the Rebbe around the camp, and the Rebbe, in his manner, wanted to see every single detail that had to do with the running of the camp, the facilities, and the Rebbe insisted on walking through room by room, inspecting each room to see that they were up to par. Obviously, the administration obliged the Rebbe, they took him around, but there was one particular room which they hoped that the Rebbe would not ask to step foot into. Perhaps it was the staff lounge, we could all imagine what that might have looked like, or a hektish room that was in camp, it was storage. One only needed to have been in camp at any point in time in their camping career to imagine what that room may have looked like. Graffiti on the walls, hefkeris inside, and they only hoped that the Rebbe would not want to step foot into that room. But sure enough, when they came past the doorway, the Rebbe said, "Und was ist mit der Zimmer? How about this room?" And they needed to take the Rebbe inside. The Rebbe came into the room, looked around, and in one area of one wall, there was one patch untouched by graffiti and the like. And some Chevraman came along and scrolled smack in the middle of this white little patch on the wall there, Zecher L'Churban. It's a Minhag Yisrael, right? You have a house, you have a thing, you put a Zecher L'Churban. The Rebbe took a look at that wall and the inscription of Zecher L'Churban, and with the Rebbe's smile he said, Zecher L'Churban? Zecher L'Mikdash. Why do you have to look at it on the negative end? Zecher L'Churban. Let's remember the Beis HaMikdash, remember the glory. Tonight marks the Shloshim for the Kedoshim killed al Kiddush Hashem in the Chabad house of Mumbai, India. Unfortunately, it also marks the beginning of the Shiva period for the 4-year-old son of the Holtzbergs, Dave Ber Olav Hashalom, who passed away last night and was interred today in Eretz Yisrael. On occasions like this, we as Hasidim of our Rebbe take the Rebbe's positive approach of focusing on the Zecher L'Mikdash, positive action to memorialize through building and growth on all levels, personally, as a community, and globally. I was asked to briefly address the concept of Shloshim. Chazal tell us that when it comes to mourning, there are different stages. Gimel Lebechi, 3 days is for the crying. Shiva Lehesped, 7 days for eulogy. And Shloshim L'Tisperes, at the time of Shloshim, we minimize, once again, the level of mourning. And other than in the case of the passing of parents, most activities that were forbidden beforehand during the period of mourning are now allowed. Why Shloshim? Why did our Chacham choose the 30-day mark to mark an end to many aspects of Avelos? Well, many answers are given in the Zohar, other Sfarim. But one practical answer which is given is based upon a Gemara, which states that if one sees a friend whom they have not seen for at least 30 days, one is obligated to make the bracha of Shechiyonu. Why must one make a bracha of Shechiyonu if we haven't seen the friend for 30 days? The reason given is that as long as we have seen someone within 30 days, their memory is still fresh in our minds. After 30 days, shikchos that sets in, we begin to forget. Tzir Pneim is not on our minds anymore. And when we see them once again, it's necessary to renew the relationship by making a bracha of Shechiyonu. Similarly, in the process of Avelos, after 30 days, we tone down the level of mourning as the shikha sets in. How then can we ensure that we do not forget? What can we do to remember the Kedoshim and the impact that they have made upon the entire world, both during their lifetime and in their passing? Says Shlomo HaMelech in Koheles, V'hachai yitein el liboy, and the living shall take to heart. In connection to the Shloshim of the Rebbe Tzidchai Mushka Allah Shalom, the Rebbe explained this pasuk to mean that those who are connected to the Niftar, or in our case the Niftarim, should take their life lessons which can be learned from the deceased and continue their legacy by taking those lessons to heart and applying them to action. Zeicher leMikdash. Specifically now, after the Shloshim, when we have moved on from negative displays of mourning, the Zeicher leChurban period is over with. We have done the Sur Meirah. We have finished primary mourning. Now, says the Rebbe, we need to act in a manner of Asay Toiv, positive action, by focusing on the lives of the Kedoshim and applying their lessons to our lives. This then becomes the ultimate memorial and the ultimate Zeicher leMikdash. As we look around the room tonight, and we see a turnout, Knai Nahara of Yom Galait, gathered in the spirit of Hakel to honor the memory of the Kedoshim, Hashem Yikam Damam, one cannot help but think that indeed the spirit of Achdus in the room is Asay Toiv in its own right, and is in itself a tribute to the Kedoshim. Thanks must be given to people of action. This evening was made possible by a group of Yom Galait, also known as the Board of Young Anash of Southern California, the Young Chevra. On behalf of all assembled here tonight, we thank them for the time and effort invested in making this evening a reality.